For the first time ever, right populists are leading the polls in all three big European countries, Britain, Germany, and France. Give it a couple of years and Europe could out-Trump Trump. In Britain, Nigel Farage's Reform UK is currently ahead of both major parties. One poll projects if the election were held today, Reform would hold as many seats as both major parties combined. In Germany, a recent poll also put the populist AfD ahead of both major parties, which are currently running in a grand coalition, a suicide pact, specifically to shut out the AfD. In France, the supposed far-right National Rally has led polls all year, with their 2027 presidential candidate dominating with a 10-point lead, while the French government just collapsed as populists block Macron. The question for long-suffering Europeans is, when do votes translate into power? Now, none of these countries is required to hold an election until 2029, but about half of elections in Europe are so-called snap elections, held early when a ruling party loses majority support in parliament, like just happened in France. What's driving it all is two key issues that have European voters very angry: mass immigration and the cost of living. The past decade, Europe has taken in millions of third-world migrants, spawning no-go zones in major cities. Half of London and Paris and three-quarters of Brussels is now foreign-born. On inflation, during COVID, European central banks printed almost as much money as the Fed, and they got the inflation to go with it. Meanwhile, Europe's regulatory state is even more ridiculous than the US, by some counts 2 to 4 times more intrusive. This strangles the economy and it drives up prices, so stagflation. Of course, immigration and inflation are also key issues in America, but in Europe the anger is even more intense because they've had near-zero growth going on a decade. The pie is not growing, freeloading migrants and runaway inflation are going to leave a mark. So as next brought to you by I Trust Capital, Europe's globalist establishment will not go down without a fight. Major parties can shut them out with coalitions like Germany's doing, which buys time. Also ramped up censorship, especially in Germany and Britain, which has locked up thousands for offensive speech when migrants stab schoolchildren. Europe's corrupt state-owned media will, of course, smear populists. Then the nuclear option, which is already happening in Europe, lawfare. France recently banned prominent populist Marine Le Pen. Germany is mulling a complete ban on the AfD, which will backfire. And the EU recently canceled Romania's elections since the populists won, while freezing funds to populist governments in Poland and Hungary to scare their voters. Going by history, these will all backfire spectacularly. The Nepal riots just illustrate that bans increase voter anger, and when it boils over, it won't be pretty. This means when Europe's repression fails, when the smoke clears and populists are voted in, Europe could go much harder than the US. Mass deportations, slashed spending, decimated bureaucracies that could dwarf what's happening in the US. Give it another 5 to 10 years, and Europe could make Donald Trump look like a moderate. Okay, we'll be watching. See you next time.